More to Marketing.
Welcome to More to Marketing, the podcast that explores marketing, product, and everything business. I'm your host today, Susan, and today we're going to be talking about from inbox to income, how to turn your email list into a 7-figure profit center. Now, I am very, very, very excited today. I have a very special guest who is a true master of this art. And he's put some science behind it as well to make email marketing amazing. He is an email marketing expert and entrepreneur, Cole VanDee. Now, I have to say one thing for everyone. VanDee isn't his full last name. I will not attempt it again now. I may get it wrong, but it is the handle you'll find him on. So Cole VanDee. Cole is the founder of Inboxing Engine, where he's helping mission-driven businesses generate over 100 million in found income. Now, I really want to stress that's found income. So this is more than what you're just already doing. Now, through the power of email marketing, he's been able to achieve this. He has a background that really does expand in really unusual areas, and we're just chatting about it before. Metallurgical lab coordination, which I probably said wrong, but it is amazing. It's a study of doing all things metal, creating metal products for all different things, from train carriages that connect together all the way through to anything you can think of that has got metal in it and making it work. Then he's actually gone into managing sales teams at very luxurious auto brands. Some of them you may have heard of in Beverly Hills, called Maserati and McLaren. If you haven't heard of them, you're definitely under a rock. But Cole brings a unique blend of efficiency, creativity, and also relentless customer focus for everything he does. Because ultimately, you need the customers to want what they're being offered. He's not just a marketing expert. He's also an author, speaker, and consultant with a passion for teaching others how to enhance their lives through the skills, mindset, and personal growth. Just remember that, guys, he is a speaker too, so don't forget to reach out to him. Whether he's building out high-performing sales teams, crafting persuasive copy, or coaching founders to scale sustainability, Cole's approach is rooted in real human connection, that raw human connection, and a deep commitment to driving real-world results. So I'm so happy to have you here today. Welcome, Cole.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Thank you. And I would love to know more about how you got here today, because you have such an interesting background, but you are so passionate about email marketing as well. So tell me how you got to where you are now.
Do we have 4 or 5 hours?
Well, I can try and edit it down to that if you like, or put it on like fast forward, like squirrel speed.
I'll try to keep it really short and concise, and shed some context for me. A big, the one thing that you shared there is I was a metallurgical lab coordinator, so more or less I read lots of graphs, lots of rows of data, and I took lots of different pieces of information to help the quality of metal basically being made for everything from government contracts to wind turbines, and like you mentioned, like train knuckles or the things that hold trains together. And so that was, I was 16 years old when I did that. So that was when I first learned how to like read data and then make decisions based on the information that we had. That's important as we get deeper into this episode, most likely when we talk about email. But for me, I decided during that internship that I turned into kind of a job. I decided I didn't want to go to college, which depending on, your worldview, that's either good or bad. For me, I just didn't want to do it. I didn't really love school. I was an okay student at best. I tested really well, never did homework kind of thing. I always showed up though. But I didn't want to go to school. Still wanted to make a lot of money, so I got into sales, which I think is probably the best way to go if you want to make a lot of money and you don't want to go to school. There's obviously other ways to do it, but that was my path, and so I jumped into sales. Like you mentioned, I was in the car business for a little bit. I started in sales, moved up into managing a sales team in Iowa. At a small dealership there, and then ended up moving out to California, where I ran and built an entire internet sales department for Maserati, McLaren, and Pagani of Beverly Hills. Those are just really expensive cars, basically, that really, really rich people buy. So that was a lot of fun. Met a lot of really interesting and cool people, drove a lot of fun cars, and really learned how really big business guys did business and how really wealthy, multimillionaires, billionaires, how they conducted business, built relationships, did all that fun stuff. So that was a really cool experience.
I bet you
After
could even ask
that,
questions as well. When you're doing test drives, you could even pick their brain a little bit too. That would have been amazing.
they don't even do test drives.
Oh, they send their
For the
people.
most part, yeah, for the most part, they'll call or text or send their assistant or their manager or a friend. And then when they do show up, it's just, I want this, order it for me, or make it happen, or
That's
find it, or we call them and
yeah.
say, hey, you should just buy this. But very rarely, I think one of the big takeaways I think that we're hitting at it and circling around it, the difference between like billionaires and then even millionaires is the ability to make a decision and to make the decision that matters. A billionaire that has 100+ car collection isn't going to harp on, well, is this the right shade of yellow? Because they're going to buy 100 more cars. And so this one car may not be the right shade of yellow, but it's close enough. And for them, it's okay. Whereas maybe a millionaire or someone that's not quite as wealthy, they're going to harp on, well, it's not the perfect thing. And they're going to spend months, if not years, thinking about that and not able to make that decision. And that's going to haunt them, whether they're consciously thinking about it or not. It's going to keep them from making other decisions and it's going to weigh on them and everything else. And so that was like a huge, 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 huge difference I saw between like billionaires and the way they operate and see the world versus most everyday people, even millionaires, was the ability to be decisive and to move forward and determine the priority or the importance of that particular decision. So
Interesting. I love that. That's actually really fascinating insights. Thanks for sharing that along the way here.
of course, of course, of course. That's what we're here for. This is my cat, if you guys can hear. My cat has decided that she's going to be a part of every podcast I do, whether I like it or not.
She's
So
adorable, by the way.
she is. She is, which is why she gets away with it. Um, so yeah, so I did that. I left the dealership world after that dealership group ended up selling and firing. Well, they were going to fire everybody. I left like a couple weeks before they did that, and realized that I needed to like kind of do my own thing. So I took my salesmanship and experience in selling stuff and decided to become a copywriter. And for anyone listening, I want to be like super, super, super transparent on this. I didn't know that it was called copywriting when I first started copywriting. People were just paying me to write stuff for them. That's how I saw it. I didn't know what copywriting was. I didn't know any of that. I didn't read a book. I didn't take a course. There was no guru, no YouTube videos. People were just like, hey, I have this thing. Can you write me a letter that sells people on this thing? And I was like, sure. Like I can, I know sales. I know how I would sell it. So I wrote a sales letter for a fitness offer for a friend of mine that was a personal trainer in Texas. That letter went on to do like $50,000 in the first week, just organically, no ads. He just kind of put a message out on Facebook and then had people read the letter. He called me. He's like, that did so well. I need more. I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then after a while, I learned he was making like hundreds of thousands of dollars. I was like, I should probably charge more than $500 for this thing. And so eventually I learned that it was copywriting through some friends. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm a copywriter. This is great. And then people started asking me to teach them how to write copy. So I started teaching them kind of the structures and the formats and strategies and stuff I used. And then I'd go on to write for some pretty big names. I wrote for Ty Lopez early on in my career, Tim Sykes, who teaches people how to trade penny stocks and stuff, or that's what he was doing at the time. And I don't know, a handful of other gurus I could name drop for in the next hour. I don't think the names really matter that much realistically after looking back on the times. There's just people that made money and were famous on the internet for their thing.
You should have done a
And
commission, like a percentage.
no, never. I actually Ty Lopez. I'll have to dig through my screenshots. This was 2017. Ty Lopez paid me $300 to write 5 sales pages. So that's how glamorous it was writing for Ty
Mm.
Lopez. And I had no time to do it, and I had to turn it in, and then I also had to compete with like hundreds of other copywriters to even get
Wow.
my stuff published. So, is it glamorous to write for these big names? Absolutely not. Was it fun? Yeah, absolutely. It was cool to like go through that process. And then for anyone listening, like imagine for a moment, like learning Ty Lopez's voice means you have to sit and watch his webinars that talk in circles for hours and hours and hours and hours about absolutely nothing. And somehow people still buy, which is crazy. I've never been able to decipher how he does it. Um, but man, I was not a Ty Lopez fan by the end of that. I don't know
You
him
can get too deep
personally.
then, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know him personally or anything like that, but man, just like not my cup of tea. But obviously, for millions of people, that he's their cup of tea. So yeah, so I did all that stuff, built a copywriting agency, grew it too fast, didn't know what I was doing, had no managers, but I had 20 something salespeople on four different continents, had 20 something salespeople on three or four different continents, had no way to pay anybody, no way to collect money. People were stealing from me, like the whole gambit of running a business that I have no idea what's going on. So I fired everybody, refunded as much money as I could, and then worked for free for the next 12 months, fulfilling on everything my salespeople sold and then didn't give me the money for, kind
Mm.
of thing. And then taking over all the stuff that my writers didn't do that they collected money for. It was a mess. And this was 2018 for me. And so I worked for free for a year and I did the thing no one wants to talk about. I went and got a job. I clearly had the ability to sell and to do stuff online and do all the stuff, but like at that time, I was hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt from all the refunds, and also had like a ton of work to do for free. Like I had to make money, and I didn't really want to go through the process of figuring out like now I need to launch a course or I need to do this thing, and so I just got a job in sales where I knew I could go in, I can make 10, 15, $20,000 a month selling whatever it was. And I did that here and there. I'd get some, copywriting contracts for 60 grand a year. So I'd take those and just kind of muscled my way back to zero. And then spent the next couple of years just kind of in sales and taking on gigs here and there, but not taking business very seriously. And then 2020 for the vid, the pandemic, I got a text from the place I was a sales manager for, and they told me not to come to work the next day. And I was like, huh, I forgot that someone else has control over my money again. Like I just completely spaced out. I thought I was like in this great, like I have control over my life, and then I get this text and now I can't make money tomorrow. What am I going to do? So had that like kind of, I call it a come to Jesus moment where I was like, all right, what am I going to do with my life? What do I want to do? And how am I going to do it? And so I made a decision like I just need a nest egg. This nest egg was going to be like, I don't know, 30 grand, I think, or 40 grand I was going to save away. And then once I had that built up, I was going to quit and then just figure out what I was going to do from there. So that's exactly what I did. The day, the day I totaled up my commissions for the month, it was the 14th of February in 2021. I totaled up all my commissions, my savings, and everything else, like in the morning, because my one of the managers made me mad. And I was like, just doing the math. I was like, how far away am I from this goal? And I realized that morning I had hit it. So I finished the day, walked in the next day in my street clothes, handed in my resignation, thanked them for the opportunity, and just started golfing, and which is the plot twist of the century. And so I got a phone call a couple of years later from a buddy of mine, not a couple of years, a couple of months later, from a buddy of mine asking me to come and run email for him. And so that's how I started in the email game. And they were doing well in email, but he just needed to remove himself from that part of the company so he could work on higher level marketing stuff. So I came in to do email and quickly scaled him from, he was doing about 250,000 a month from email. We quickly got him up to around 500,000 a month from email. And then that's when I knew this thing had legs. And we ended up scaling
Mm.
them to a little over 1 million a month in email on one offer, for one list of a couple 100,000 people. And that happened for the next 4 years, basically, for
Amazing.
him. Yeah. So that's how we got here. It's that was the short version too.
I think with all your different pivots that you've done, you've learned so much and just built upon it and upon it to where you are now to be able to utilize all those skills, whether it's the data skills that you got when you're in the lab, through to talking to different types of people in the car yards, all the way through to the sales techniques of what you know resonates with different audiences. It's all curated into this fantastic recipe for email marketing for you.
Yeah, I mean, it was the perfect storm that I didn't know and I wasn't even looking for. I had written email copy before and never thought much of it. Um, and I never thought of it as like an opportunity or a thing that I could make a lot of money at. I'd always thought of it as like it's an easy way to sell $1,000 package of 10 emails and then just move on. But I never thought to apply strategy to it and like do it for others. And when I got that phone call, it was like really a huge blessing of like, oh, here's an opportunity to do something new and challenge myself and see if there's anything here that makes sense and is scalable. And um, yeah, I mean, now looking back, it's like, to me, it's so obvious. Like, of course, there's like so much opportunity here. It's the most underutilized platform out of any platform that's out there and available for businesses. Um, and there's so much data attached to it. Like it's not as hard as you may think to actually optimize it and scale it to really extract out as much money as you can and really build a really loyal tribe of people along the way. So yeah, it's been a journey. It's been a lot of fun, and I'm glad that this series of events kind of unfolded in the way that they did, so that way I'd end up where I am now.
Perfect. And even talking to some of the big email companies like Intuit, which does MailChimp. Never say their name right. I'm terrible at pronunciation, guys. You know, you all know that. But even all their research and research from third parties is all saying that email is still king out there because people are getting annoyed, they're getting bombarded, they're not seeing it. Where email going into the inbox still has that better opportunity for people's interests. So it's definitely a fantastic place to go. But I really want to start talking to you about the key differences that are out there when it comes to creating types of copy, because you've got some places that specialize in email marketing, you've got others that do e-newsletters. But why do businesses need, like, what's the difference, one? And two, what, I know that you have a great thought on this, but why should they have both?
Yeah, I mean, and I want to clarify that you're saying e-newsletters and what was the one other thing?
Just emails themselves.
Just emails themselves. Oh, so you're like a curated newsletter kind of thing versus like just emails in general,
Yeah.
and just random email marketing or email marketing to sell stuff. I I think about it like this. Like if you're gonna send like you sign up for a big company's email, like if you're on Nike's email list, for example, every time Nike sends you an email, they're selling you something every single time. Um, without fail, every single email that I get from Nike is buy this stuff. Look at this cool new pair of shoes we just dropped.
Mm-hmm.
Look at these shorts. Buy these things, right? So I know when I see Nike that I'm getting smacked in the face with a billboard. Now, Nike's playing that game. Nike plays that game. They send a couple 100 million emails a week. So they can play that game because they have the numbers to do it.
They
And
only
so
need a
they're
small
they're
percentage to actually action it.
very few, but but you send 200 million people an email and half a percentage of those people open it and then half a percentage of those people click and buy. Like you're talking about a couple $1 million. And so they don't have to try that hard. It is kind of the reality of that. And then let's say you have a more curated brand where you are building a strong relationship with your audience. Maybe you're a coach, a consultant, you're a supplement brand. You want to be different than Nike, where you're just beating people over the head with a billboard all the time. You're going to want a more strategic approach to email. You're going to want to the way that I see email and use it in 2025, and I'll be using this way for a very long time. I use email as a source of truth for the audiences in which we're writing to. There's so much noise, so much information, so many videos, so many TikToks, YouTube videos, Instagram reels on everything that contradict everything. Don't eat meat, eat meat. Don't wear this, drink this, don't drink that. Like, you've already done the hard part if they're on your email list. You cut through all of that noise. They either agreed with you or were curious about what you had to say. They gave you an email address. They're on your side. And now they're looking for you to show them that you're the authority and that you actually want to help them. And so the approach that we take is, and this is going to sound crazy, people, but listen, I promise you this is going to work. You should demonstrate you can help the people on your email list by actually helping them. I know that's a crazy thing to think about in marketing, but demonstrate you can help the people on your email list by actually helping them. I know it's a crazy thought, but man, it works and it scales.
Who would have thought actually giving people what they need and value would actually be helpful?
Great. It's a crazy thought to have as a marketer. I know, because all of the gurus are like, buy and get them to buy, and you got to close them, and you got to be high pressure, and it's high ticket sales, and you need this funnel, and you need to do this. Slow down and help somebody. I promise you, they'll give you money in return for it. So we do lots of things, and I always get the question, well, I'm selling pots and pans. How could I possibly help them? Give them recipes. Here's how to clean your pots and pans. This is how we organize our kitchen so it's the most efficient setup possible. These are some new spices that we saw from this other brand. Here's some of the dinnerware that we've seen from other brands we really like. Like, there's so much information you can do to actually help people. It's insane if you just took the time to think about it and go, okay, how can I help this person? This person that needs pots or pans, what else do they need help with? And I don't have to sell it to them. I'll just give it to you. Here's a free recipe, do recipe Wednesdays or whatever, and just give out a free recipe. And then on Mondays, here's a tip on how to organize your kitchen. Tuesdays, here's some farmers markets that we're seeing across the country, or like whatever the thing is, right? And like, help people out, because then now they're searching for your emails and your content. And they're begging for you to send them more emails. And guess what? When you do send them an email to ask them to buy something, they go, you know what? This person's helped me so much. I'm going to not only allow them to sell me stuff, I'm going to be okay with it, if not happy about it. And so they go from annoyed to, oh, they're spamming me and everything else, to, why aren't they sending me an email? I'm waiting for my recipe for this week. My friends and family are counting on it, right? And so it completely changes the game for people. And it's a thought that I am so sad to, like, that this is a thing, but like, it's a thought that people aren't having, is like actually helping people.
Mm.
And I know it works because I've done it for years, but two, like, I have all of the data and the information that tells me that helping people actually works.
It's interesting because I think that's an art that's been lost across all different marketing channels. I remember when I used to do catalogs for a retailer, because this was before really news like email databases were a thing, because didn't really have a lot of emails at the time. So it was still very much physical was the best way to go. So I am aging myself here. But what I decided to do with one of our big catalogs, which was a Christmas catalog, was I said, well, how can I make this catalog more sticky? So similar to you, having people more interested in the email, I want people to want this catalog, but I want them to share the catalog. So I actually asked some of the products that were in there to share. So I had recipes. It was Christmas catalog. We had a fantastic brand new character. So I got that artwork to design little coloring in Christmas tags that people could cut out of their catalog. I had Christmas music written out from one of the big pieces that was coming out and being released, also that people could see there was more value, and I was actually thinking about what they were going to do and need at Christmas. So again, going back to the data, I had teamed up with one of the big catalog specialists to count and see how it was progressing. They do surveys and report, and it was the most sticky catalog there ever was. They shared it 3 times more than any other catalog they got from my company up until that point, because of that need of, I need to share this with other people. It's got so much value in here, and I'm going to buy from you too. So we ended up having the best sales Christmas as well because of that added emotional impact. So 100% agree with you, fast forwarding doing it in emails, because it makes complete sense.
Yeah. It it like at a human level, the most common sense thing to do is to help other people. It's the thing like when I have these conversations, I don't offer this. This is not something that anyone can buy from me or anything like that. But I do have some friends of mine. We went through personal development classes together and stuff like that. And they wanted to be entrepreneurs, so I coached them for a couple of months to just help them kind of work through a lot of limiting beliefs entrepreneurs have and all that fun stuff, all the things that we battle. And I just happened to be like one step further along the journey than they were. And the big thing at the end of the day that I've noticed that they wanted, and then anyone else I really have a conversation with, regardless of what level of life you're at, is like everyone's like, what's my purpose? Why am I here? What's the meaning of life? All this fun stuff. And no matter who I ask, where I ask them, when I ask them, the answer always stems to I want to help other people. And so, if the answer is I want to help other people for the meaning of life and being purposeful, and I'm in fulfillment, and this is alignment, and I want to do this, and this would be my dream, and all this fun stuff, just start doing it now and start doing it in your business, start doing it in your personal life. Just help other people. You'd be very surprised how amazing life starts to turn out as a result, both personally and professionally in your business. It's one, I think it's just the right thing to do. And two, people kind of like it. Like people really enjoy when you're helping them out, even if they don't ask for it. So,
I think that's beautiful. Now, going back to my other part of that two-part question, e-newsletters, thoughts.
and are you speaking more specifically about paid e-newsletters or just more like personalized kind of content?
I would love to know your thoughts about both of them because I think they've both got different meanings to different people, and particularly for what their purposes are for the business. So I'd love to know more about your experience and when it's worked well and where it hasn't.
Yeah, I think if you're doing a paid newsletter, then the amount of value you have to give away to be different or to stand out has to be insane. Like if
Mm.
you're charging and trust me, there are plenty of e-newsletters that charge $7 a month, $10 a month, $5 a month, whatever, and they have like 5,000 subscribers or 10,000 subscribers. So they're making good money. Like there are a handful of those people out there, but those to me they'll never scale that. Like that's not a scalable thing. Because like in order for if someone is paying you for information that other people are giving away for free, it's only a matter of time before they realize it. And so my approach, and in marketing in general, there's something that we call the free line, or what's kind of the marker in which we have to give something away for free. So a long time ago, you didn't really have to give anything away for free. 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, you had to start kind of giving away ebooks or mini courses,
White
kind of to move
papers, yeah.
white papers, yeah, like whatever, and then
Mm.
coupons, and then now that free line is continuing to move, meaning people are expecting more out of the free stuff. The fluffy doesn't really give them anything type of free stuff isn't working as much. And the way that and we're seeing this now with content creators and influencers, they're giving everything away for free because they're getting paid to
Mm.
post the content. So their customers don't have to pay anything to get the information. They're getting paid from the platform. And so ultimately they're winning. Like if we look at like Alex Hermosi is the best example of this. Everything free. All the courses are free. The only thing you really pay for is the book, which is like $20, right? And think about like how many $10,000 programs or courses or coaching that's out there that doesn't have the high level and quality content that one book does for $20. Um, and so that like when you talk about like Alex scaling something, like Alex can get to the point now where if he put out a course for $1,000, he'd do like $100 million with it because of how much free stuff he's given away. Versus if you want to get to $100 million company with an info product, Like you have to spend $80 million on traffic in order to do it because one, no one knows who you are. You got to build up all these leads. You got to convert all these people. You have this funnel and you're hiding everything behind this paywall.
Mm.
And so for me, I'm looking at how much stuff can I give away for free to build my tribe. And so I'm not a fan of paid newsletters. However, if it's something you want to test, or if you think you have something really, really, really valuable that you want serious people to buy, I mean, sure. But I would strongly recommend that whatever you think is worth $7 a month, you give away for free. I would even go as far as if you think it's worth $100 a month, you give it away for free. That's kind of my strategy and my approach that I'm looking at. Um, Across the board. Like I have a book I just put together that easily, in the past when I've put books together, I sell them for $100. I put this book together. It could easily be worth maybe 20 to $50, if not 100. Like actually selling it for that price, not like this is worth 100, buy it for $7. Like actually selling books for $100, and I'm giving it away for free. Because I just want to put more free content. I want more people in my ecosystem. And if I put friction between people entering my ecosystem, then that just means I have less people to influence and to become part of my tribe, part of my movement, and do the things that I want them to do with me and supporting me and helping me. That just creates a moat between me and customers. And I don't want to do that. I want to create this bridge where people can easily flow into my world and be on my team and support me and what I got going on. So I want to give them as much as I can to attract them into my ecosystem. So that's how I look at that. And then from the free side, like, yeah, give everything away. Um, give as much content as you can for free. I one of the lists that I scaled, the biggest thing that they did was they'd create these 15-minute YouTube videos, and it would be on mindset or what your family thinks about you when you become an entrepreneur, or just a bunch of different things like a new entrepreneur would face, and it was just free, like easily packaged up and sold as a course, but free on YouTube. And we would just send free content like, hey, these are three things you're going to face when you're a new entrepreneur. We put together a video, check it out. And they just go to YouTube and then they'd watch the YouTube video. There's no call to action to buy anything or anything like that. But we'd put this content together that didn't compete with what we wanted, but it was congruent with what we wanted them to do. And it genuinely help them in more areas of life than make more money or build a business or whatever, but like other helpful things that they're going to have to face. And then we became a source of truth for this audience where they'd start like looking to us. Like we'd get replies every once in a while that's like, hey, I've been battling with this thing. I know you got all this content. Like, what do you think about this? And like we'd take some of that and we'd go create a video and some content for it. And that seems to work really, really, really well.
And again, you're going back to the audience and the value there. And then because you're now that source of truth, they're potentially looking at your products and services and taking them up.
Absolutely. They're
Mm.
more likely to purchase from you. It's the same thing that happened when I started working in sales. Again, I was working at the car dealership, and even before when I worked at Discount Tire selling tires. It was the same thing. Someone would come in, would you like water? We're giving you something for free before you spend money with us, before we know if you want to buy anything, before, you could just be asking directions. And we're just like, you want some water? And it was so important in our sales process at the car dealership that it was like mandatory. You had
Mm.
like, if you didn't bring a customer something to drink, like you got asked about it after that customer left. So we started finding different ways to influence customers to take water or soda or coffee or something, like if they're like, no, I'm good. Like, I'm just going to bring you something. And like, we would go to the back and get them something. And because there's so many, I don't have the studies pulled up right now, but there are so many studies from Stanford and Harvard and all the universities that you can imagine, plus independent studies and everything else, where they studied the law of
Okay.
reciprocity.
Yep, yep, I know what you
Yeah,
mean.
something like that. My vocabulary is very small, even though I'm a writer, believe it or not. I try to use simple, clear, easy to use words. But uh, when you give someone something, they are more likely to buy something from you,
Yes.
and no matter what. So even if like we would give people water, and they would be more likely to buy a $30,000 car from us than if we didn't give them a bottle of water that they could get from the gas station for 99 cents.
Mm.
That's how powerful that was. So that's why it was so important to us. And the same thing translates directly over into any business. If you can give someone something and not ask anything in return of them, they feel obligated to
Mm.
buy something, to do business, to give you something. Maybe they're like, oh, my friend was talking about this. They'll come buy it from you. Like they feel like they owe you something. And so that's why that works so well. It's deeply rooted in psychology. There's a lot of studies around it as well that prove this theory out. And it's a probability thing. So you're just moving and shifting the probability of someone willing to buy something from you in your favor. And if
Mm.
you can take more chances at getting somebody more likely to buy something from you, you should take them, in my opinion. If you want to sell something, at least.
I think you've touched on a few things I wanted to talk about here, where it's what are some simple tactics to grow, and particularly your email base for your website. And it comes down to give away as much as you can for free, particularly things that people see as value, because then with the human behavior, you're giving away something, they're going to want to return something to you because it reciprocal feelings, because it's built into our human brain and psychology of, well, we have to, as you just said, 99 bottle of water, they could 99 cents bottle of water, you could go down to the shop and buy it, but no, I got it for free. I feel more obliged, I feel more connected. I had a guest on not long ago, and he used to be a police detective, and one of the things that he found to get more information out of particular bad guys was multiple touch points throughout the interview process. Because the more of those little touch points that you could do, similar to giving a water, giving here's a biscuit, here's whatever it might be in the car yard, for example, they're more likely to open up to you as well, and be on the journey you want them to be on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it also there becomes there's a reward dynamic in there that you can
Mm.
work in as well, where they take a certain action, you give them an immediate reward they weren't expecting. So it's kind of like how you train a dog or a cat to do the things that you
Yes.
want them to do, right? Like it's like, oh, they went potty outside instead of inside. I'm going to give them a treat. You want to reinforce that behavior, and same thing can happen along in your business. So for us, someone would opt in, and then we'd want them to register for the webinar. Well, if they registered for the webinar, on the next page, we're, hey, congratulations, we want to give you something else. And so then, hey, you're going to get an email in a few minutes. Once you get that email, find it and then reply back to it. We'll give you the cheat sheet for the webinar. So that way you have all the notes organized and prepared beforehand. So that way you don't have to waste time figuring it out. And so they're like, I did a good thing by registering for the webinar. Now I'm getting this bonus thing I didn't even know about beforehand. And so that you're reinforcing
Mm.
positive behavior that goes in the direction in which you want them to move. And so subconsciously they're thinking, now I need to show up on the webinar. What else are they going to give me? And then they show up and they're like, and then you start planting more seeds. When you stay until the end, we're going to give you a free gift or a special bonus or something like that. And now they're
Mm.
like, well, they already made good on their other promises. Why wouldn't they make good on this one? And it continues that process of like rewarding them for taking the actions in which you'd like to take them. And I also want to clarify, like the thought that comes up that, like, if I was interviewing, this is the question I would have is like, doesn't that sound like manipulation? And because I get asked that question a lot, and it is. It is
It's influencing a
1000%
behavior.
manipulation.
Yeah.
It's yeah, we're influencing behavior, and only and then when you were reading my intro when you were talking about it, like we work with mission driven businesses, meaning the business has a mission to help people and it is clearly defined and they have results
Mm.
that show me they're moving in that direction, meaning they are doing something to help people and they're actually helping people do
Mm.
it. I'm willing to do whatever it takes in order to help those people get the help they need. So, like for example, if I had the cure for cancer, I'm not gonna not call somebody on a Sunday because they might be at church. I'm gonna kick their door in and go, "Hey, I have the cure for cancer. Do you need it?" And then they can tell me whether or not they need it, right? But if I know that I have a solution to a problem someone is experiencing, and without that solution, they're living in some sort of pain, emotional, physical, whatever it may be, it's my duty to make sure I'm doing everything in
Mm.
my power to help them see that and give them the opportunity to say no. There's an opportunity in every email you get to unsubscribe. There's an opportunity in every funnel to just click out and never go another step further. There's an opportunity on the sales call to just hang up. It's if it's not for you, then say no. But if it is for you, I'm going to make sure I'm doing everything I can to help you with that. And so that's why I feel okay with moving that needle and doing every little thing that I possibly can to get somebody to move forward in their own journey on the path of their discovery for their solution focused thing to solve whatever problem it is that they're wanting to solve. So for
Mm.
anyone out there that's like, I don't know, sales isn't really for me. This sounds a little kind of weird or creepy. That's that's part of the process is helping people get out of their own way. More people than not will make it harder for themselves to solve the problem that they need to solve, and that's where most of companies will come in and help them solve that problem.
100%. And unfortunately, there are people that will have that fear as well. But I really wanted to unpack one of the things that you just mentioned there in that particular example. So going back to your example of the email, they've joined, they've got the email, they decide they want to follow you, you've offered them the webinar, but you don't tell them that if they sign up, they'll get something. Have you, why would you choose, or what have you actually done to prove that that's better? Because a lot of the time that I see these, you get that little golden, you get something if you sign on to this. And that then makes you want to do it because then you want to see what that thing is versus not telling them at all, because that's not really changing the behavior to me,
Mhm.
because you're not enticing them with something to do that next step.
Mhm.
So I'd love to know your thoughts on it.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you asked this question. It's a really, really insightful question. So yes, I have tested it. The data point that tells me that it works better, there's two data points that I can share with you precisely that demonstrate that, rewarding someone after they register for a webinar specifically is better than telling them before they register that they'll get something. So the first data point that I think is incredibly important is one, you're incentivizing the wrong thing. And so if they're like, I don't know if I want to sign up for this webinar, they're going to give me the cheat sheet notes if I do sign up. So maybe I don't have to go to the webinar now. And so our show up rate got a little lower. The quality of our registrant went down. And we were able to see this by our show up rate decreasing. So we did test this at scale. The second piece of that puzzle is when we did during this test, I talked to people that did register and did show up for the webinar. Most of them did not know that was a bonus for registering for the webinar until after they registered for it, meaning they did not see it on the registration page.
Yep.
And I think out of the probably 200 or 300 people I communicated with, two people knew about it. And I was like, if we didn't have that on there, would you register? And they're like, yeah, I don't even know what that meant, you know? And so it wasn't a needle mover to get more registrants. And when you, and then the question, because I've had this conversation with multiple people. So then the question becomes, well, what if you're louder about that bonus beforehand? Will you get more registrants? The answer is yes. The quality of them will be lower. It's the same reason why, like, I got this question from a potential client last month. They're like, well, if we incentivize people to opt into our email list, we'll give them a $5 Amazon rewards card, or if they click this link, we'll give them money. You're incentivizing the wrong behavior. You're incentivizing them to click just so they get something for free. You're not incentivizing them to click so they can buy something from you. Those are two completely different behaviors. So when it comes promo time and you want them to buy something, they're not going to click unless you give them a $5 Amazon gift card. You're training them to do the wrong thing. And so, how you incentivize people, when you incentivize them, and why you're incentivizing them, and the whole context around that scenario will dictate the quality of the behavior and then the follow through on the real intention you actually want to drive behind it. If you want more buyers, then you need to incentivize them to buy. But if you just want more eyeballs on something, then you just need to incentivize more eyeballs. But I've never heard of anybody that just wanted people to look at their offer and not buy it. That doesn't make a lot of sense. And so we focus primarily on quality of intention and quality of action over mass action or, wrong intentions, if that makes sense.
100%. I think that's a problem across the board when it comes to subscriber databases and active versus inactive databases. There's so often that you'll see a company say, I've got 3 million members. Yeah, you might have 3 million emails, but out of the 3 million, how many of them are actually active in the last X amount of period? How many of them have actually done purchases and what's the value? And how many are dead and actually should be wiped out? And it's probably a huge percentage because you're probably not doing the right thing if that's how you're promoting your base anyway, because you're just trying to get the number, you're not trying to get the quality behind it.
I will deflate a lot of people's egos with this one. If you have a million person email list, I can show you with your own data that you have less than 100,000 people that even care about you, and most likely it's less than that.
Mm.
Um, the overall no, and I get it. The old school marketer thinking is, well, if I mail more people, there's more opportunity. Sure, great. You send a million emails out, 100,000 people open. That's great. But if I mail a list that has 100,000 people on it and I get 80,000 to open, I'm probably going to make more money with that list because that list wants to be on that list. The 100,000 that are opening, some of them are probably bots, some of them have just been there. They probably don't care that much. And I've proven this out with math amongst the email marketers out there, time and time and time again. Every single time, get rid of the dead weight. Who cares if you? I have one of the lists that we were pulling. We could run a JV2 4 times a year. It was a 4,000 person list. We got about 3,000 opens every time we sent something to it, and we would make $4 million a year from it. As a 4,000 person list, pulling $4 million a year. So your million person list that's making you $200,000 a year is worse than my 4,000 person list making 4 million a year. So the amount of subscribers you have does not matter as much as the quality of the subscribers that you have. And the first thing I do when I come in to work with any company that has an email list is I figure out how many people they actually have on the email list. So I took on a new client. They have a software offer that they run a webinar for. They have like 500,000 people on their email list. They've done really poor at emailing. So they have 50,000 people that have opened in the last 6 months. They have a 50,000 person email list. They don't have a 500,000 person email list. And when I shared that with them, they already kind of knew that. They're like, yeah, we get it. Like, those people are probably never going to re-engage. Similar client, different offer. They had a 300,000 person email list and they'd only get maybe 80,000 to open. They thought they had a 300,000 person list. And it was a huge, we just had this disagreement across the board. Like they just would not give, like, no, we have to mail everybody. And eventually we ended up parting ways because like I couldn't get them to see what I saw with the math. They didn't seem to care. And they were only doing 60,000 a month. Um, uh, so it's like you got like the way you're doing it isn't working, but you guys are very committed to this. So I'll let you guys go do this, and I will work on other accounts that I can make, 500,
Help.
600,000 a month for with less people than you guys have on your list because I'm willing to nurture them and take care of the list the right way and rebuild the list the way it needs to be built. It takes time, it takes commitment, and it takes patience. Those are the three things that if you say those in your marketing will prevent sales more than anything else.
Mm.
No one wants to wait. Everyone wants all of the results now, and they want the biggest numbers possible. And the reality of business is that just doesn't work. Um, it
Not
takes time to
everyone's
build
that
something
billionaire
great.
walking in, not and going straight in there and going, I've made that decision. It doesn't matter if it's the right yellow or not.
Yep,
Not everyone is that.
exactly, exactly, exactly.
Now, I would love to ask you one more question when it comes to emails. You've predicted a whole pile of the future about how you've utilized your skills, brought it in, but what do you see some trends that are going to be shaping emails and the monetization of emails into the future?
Yeah, I think we already saw a couple snippets of it and it's going to happen soon. And it's already happening, but AI agents are coming in and summarizing emails for some people. It's very small. It's not impacting anything right now, but it will. Um, Gmail's Gemini was in there doing one sentence recaps or summaries of emails. So this is going to affect the copy. Um, so those things are going to change. And then, I mean, today, like if you haven't noticed by now, if you're not playing by the rules of email, you're having a bad time. So if you're not being consistent, if you're not engaging your subscribers, if you're not cleaning your list, if you're not doing all the things you need to be doing in order to do email properly, then you're seeing 20% open rates instead of 60% open rates. You're seeing probably a third, if not a tenth, of the revenue that you could be seeing out of your email list every month just because you're not willing to play by the rules. And the rules have gotten more strict and they're going to continue to get more strict as time goes on. I predict probably by the end of 2025, email's going to be pretty dialed as far as you will follow these rules or you will not be able to send email. We're getting close now to where most people that are just kind of doing whatever they want, shooting from the hip, are getting 10%, 15% open rates, which is basically like not doing email at all in my world. So yeah, I mean, play by the rules and you will win. But as far as, will email still be here? Yes. Will email marketers still be here? Maybe. There's some pretty cool stuff out there. AI copy isn't working as well as human copy. I've tested that at scale, even with some of the best AI implementation guys in the world, some of the best AI prompters, some of the leading experts in AI. Have a friend of mine runs an AI email newsletter ESP company with the biggest names in the world. I have his data. I know what works and what doesn't work. The AI copy isn't as good as human. So that's not there yet. It'll get there. It'll probably be another year until we get to that point. Um, so I mean, embracing AI is going to be incredibly important. Being lazy because of AI is not going to help you win. So being intentional, having a strategy, and actually doing the work with AI could get you light years ahead of everybody else.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for those top tips to look out for the rest of the year and into next year. Now, I ask a question of everybody, and you don't escape it. What brand, any brand in the world, best represents you and why?
What brand best represents me and why?
Yes.
Man, that's a great question.
You can have multiple answers as well because there's no
The
wrong answer to
first
this.
one, the first one that comes to mind is it's a company called Mura, and it's a golf company. And the founder of that company, Mr. Mura, that family, I believe, and I actually I could be wrong here, but my belief that the thing that has me tied to this thing so far is that that family were master swordsmiths. So they would make samurai swords for the Japanese soldiers as far back, I believe, as the 16th century. And their attention to detail, making everything by hand, and making things for peak performance for the action in which the thing needs to make it. That's what they're known for. And then as Mr. Mira has learned about golf, I think it was in the '60s in a factory in Japan, and transitioned from making samurai swords into golf clubs, and it's the crazy level of attention to detail and making the tools necessary for those that are willing to use them the right way. And I think that best represents me. I love the attention to detail. I love the nitty gritty details. I love the artisan aspect of a lot of different things. And I like to make sure that the tools that I'm creating and inventing and evolving and optimizing are being used for good by people that want to be masters of their craft and want to be the best in the world. And so that's why I think that's probably the brand that represents me the best.
And I also just want to add when you walked in and handed over your letter, you then went and played golf.
I
So
did.
it
Yeah, I
makes
did do
sense
that.
that it's part of your story as well, because you must
Yeah.
love playing golf as well.
I enjoy playing golf a lot. I'm actually, as a hobby, I'm designing my own golf clubs. So that has been a challenging task as I've never done that before. So we'll see how that ends up going.
Absolutely perfect brand then for you, completely on point in so many different ways. I love it. Thank you for sharing that. I'm just going to do a very quick recap and then you can let me know if I've missed anything out. So today we're talking about how you can really step up emails to add extra value, not just to your members, but also to your business by having sales come through. So we had a special guest come on just to talk about strategies that have proven and worked and what we could learn from this as well. Now, to start off with, always make sure when you're going into email that you play by the rules. That's a given. Make sure you're consistent, you engage, you clean your list, you abide by any of the laws that are required as well for spam, etc. as well, to get you in good stead. But really, I want to really stress there, clean the list, because otherwise you're not going to get the results you want because of how when emails are going through, they get caught and stopped, and that will then stop future lists going out. There's a whole big dynamic behind there, guys. When it comes to your email list itself, and when you're creating your email journeys, ensure that you've got a strategy there in place, a strategy of nurture. You want to have time, commitment, and patience to this list to grow it for what your business goals are, but also keeping in mind the humans you're sending it to. They're not robots, they're humans. Humans are going to be reading this, engaging with it, and connecting with it. So you want to ensure it's value. Now, we got told today that emails are now more and more being used as a source of truth because of all the other messages that are out there cluttering and confusing people. So if you've got an email going out from your brand, that is an opportunity for a source of truth, not just for selling, but an opportunity where you can clarify and actually help people. Because the best results that we've heard about that have come through is when you have curated strategic approaches to your content, and the content is actually there to help people, and then for they feel reciprocal on that to then help you, and that could be a future purchase or connecting with other people or sharing the content around. Now, if we just deep dive a little bit into paid newsletters, paid emails, and those type of opportunities that some people do go down, a lot of value now has been given away for free these days. So many places have now got free content, are giving it away anywhere and everywhere. You can Google it, you can chat GPT it, whatever it might be, but there's a lot of people that just give it away. So if you're going to go down the paid path, you're going to have to give away an insane amount of value to actually be relevant. And it has to be in some way that might even be personalized to a point too, because it's not scalable. You're going to have small lists. Yes, you'll get some income, but the amount you'll have to give away, the amount of work you'll have to do will be quite insane for the returns. So if you follow more of a path that Cole's described to us today, where you're curating things for free, building that content, building a tribe, building these people that want to be on your list because they want that free recipe Wednesday or whatever it could be, that's when you've got that reciprocality happening, that psychological moment in the head of they've given me something for free. Eventually, I want to do something good with them because they become top of mind. And that's what you're doing when you build these lists, because you're making people feel obliged. And that's just part of everyday sales. It's not pushing people. People can turn it off at any point in time. They can unsubscribe, not listen to it, hang up, whatever it might be. But you don't always have to have a call to action. Some of the things that you could do to help is literally just have YouTube videos which describe pain points and point people to that content. And then they might go and ask another question and you get more content out of this. And that means it's going to be relevant to other people. So again, you're building that tribe mentality, and eventually reciprocality will jump in and you'll get people buying things off you, which has been proven by the numbers that Cole told us about today. Ultimately, it's all about quality over quantity. Get out of your head that you must have that 3 million base. It's about how many of those 3 million are actually engaged and doing the behavior that you are investing so much time and effort in to do. If it's only a small percentage, well, maybe you have to rethink how you're approaching your total numbers and actually cleaning that list so it is accurate, because then you actually are in charge and able to do something good with your emails. Ensure you don't incentivize the wrong way. We heard the great example from Cole in regards to if you tell people about the free item they'll get if they sign up versus not telling them till afterwards. That's a surprise and delight, guys. That means they're committed to going to the webinar in this example. And two, they're now feeling more obliged because they got a free item connected to the webinar to then attend and do a bit of the homework on it. So you're going to get the better behaviors that you're wanting. And again, that quality over quantity is king here. And that's what we really want to do when we nurture these lists. Because again, go back to the first principles: time, commitment, and patience. And then you'll be able to get those amazing results. Cole, what would you like to add?
I don't know if I have anything to add. I think you summarized it perfectly. Probably better than I did. You should be sitting here and doing this from my side.
I take that compliment. Thank you very much. But tell us, before we jump off, tell us, I know that you're huge on Instagram. The handle there is Cole VanDee. I'll have it in the show notes, but tell everyone else how else that they can get in touch with you.
Yeah, you can connect with me on most of the social media platforms at Cole VanDee, VanDee, ColeVanDee.com. I'm working on spinning up some more free resources, content, stuff like that. And then if you are a company looking to scale from $10 million a year and more, I do own inboxingengine.com. You can go there, check out what we do, how we can help you, and you can book a call to get a demo directly from me to see how we could actually apply some of the stuff we talked about today into your business. If you're not quite at that revenue point yet, or maybe even just getting started in business, or just simply curious what we're doing with email, we're putting out free resources all of the time on our website, inboxingengine.com. You can grab free ebooks and even possibly some short free courses as well. Check out how we're doing things and the overall strategies that we're using to execute for our clients at the highest level possible.
Fantastic. Thank you so much again, Cole. I have loved our conversation here today. I think it's a real eye opener in regards to how powerful email can be if you really put that time and effort into it and don't just think it's a set and forget.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad we got to have the conversation today, and I'm really excited to hear. I know at least one person listening got a golden nugget that they can go and use immediately, either in their business or their client's business, and I'm excited for that.
Fantastic. Everyone else, don't forget to follow More to Marketing and make sure you add it to your playlist so you don't miss out on future fabulous guests.
More to Marketing.